Hi, PHS family. Welcome back. My name is Tracy Holcomb. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to special education at Pelion High School. At Pelion High School, we currently serve over 125 students through our special education program, and we serve those students through two models. The first is our resource model, and this is where the majority of our students receive their services. We have approximately 100 students who receive resource support. These students are working toward earning a high school diploma, so they will be in all general education classes, but they receive extra resource support in the areas of reading, writing, math, and transition. We also serve approximately 26 students in our Occupational Credential Program, or OCP program. These students are working toward earning a South Carolina high school credential. This is a non-diploma program because these students have more significant disabilities. So these students are working on academics, but they're also working on employability skills. So they are learning job and life skills through our school-based businesses, which will look a lot different this year, and through job internships. Please be aware that these students do take general education courses, often with modifications. So these students will be in elective courses, CATE courses, and this year they'll also be in general education biology and U.S. history courses because these are requirements of the South Carolina high school credential. But also be aware that they receive modifications, so they won't be held to the same academic standards as the general education students in your classrooms. They're there for the academic exposure and also for social skills exposure with their peers, but they will not be held to the same academic standards. So if you have a student that you're teaching in one of those courses, their case manager will be discussing that with you. Each student with an IEP is assigned a case manager, and this person would be your primary point of contact if you have any questions about that student or his or her IEP. Our special education department members are Tracy Holcomb. I teach math resource in the hybrid model. Cole West is our reading and writing resource teacher in the hybrid model. Robin Phillips is teaching math resource for students in Lula. Cherie Rogers is our new resource teacher. She's teaching reading and writing resource to students in Lula. And Lisa Kendall is our new instructional assistant one-to-one. This means that Lisa is assigned to one particular student. So if this student is in your classroom, Lisa Kendall will be accompanying that student to your class. So you'll be finding out more about that soon. Teachers in our occupational credential program are Kim Corley and Rebecca Prosser. And Brittany Dotson is the instructional assistant for the OCP program. Ashley Berry is our federal compliance specialist. She is the one who's in charge of scheduling our IEP meetings and taking care of all of our IEP paperwork, and we would be absolutely lost without her. So be on the lookout for IEP meeting invitations, emails from Ashley Berry. Some additional staff and services. Lori Ellen Campbell is our school psychologist. We also have a speech teacher, an occupational therapist, and a physical therapist assigned to Pelion High School. If you have students with any of these services, those teachers will contact you directly. So just a quick overview, an IEP is a legal document that details the individualized education plan for a student with a disability. The IEP contains lots of information about a student's disability, their present levels of performance, their goals, and their services. But the part that is most applicable to you is the classroom accommodations, and we will talk more about those. Accommodations change how a student learns, but not the content that is being learned. So examples of classroom accommodations would be small group testing, oral administration of tests, extended time to complete assignments, and preferential seating. As some of our students are going to be working in a virtual model, just be aware that some accommodations will not be appropriate for virtual. For example, small group testing, if a student is testing individually at home, they won't need you to provide small group testing, but they would still need you to provide oral administration of tests. So if you have any questions about which accommodations need to be administered in virtual learning, please let your case manager know. Some students also have classroom modifications. These are going to be your OCP students. Modifications change what the student is expected to learn. So some examples of that would be reduced learning targets, and modified assessments. And within those assessments, eliminating multiple choice options. So if you have 4 choices for your general ed students, a modification could be to decrease that to 3 choices or to 2 choices. No extended response questions on an assessment, or a word bank for short answer or fill in the blank. Again, modifications would only be for our non-diploma students. Any student who receives modifications cannot earn credit toward graduation in a course. Just a reminder, you are required by law to implement accommodations and modifications in your classroom, and that includes in the virtual classroom. So if you have any questions about those, please let us know. You will receive a copy of each student's accommodations no later than Friday, August 28th. We're unsure right now of the procedure that we're going to use this year to give you those accommodations. So as soon as I know more, I'll let you know. Just be on the lookout for an email from me about that. And again, if you are not sure how to implement an accommodation or a modification in your classroom or in your virtual classroom, please talk to the student's case manager. We are here to help, and we will happily talk through that with you and help you figure out how to implement those accommodations or modifications. We do have some students who also have behavior intervention plans, or BIPs. If a student has a BIP, you will receive a copy when you receive the IEP accommodations. BIPs are written for students with significant behavior issues, and they give you strategies to use in the classroom to decrease inappropriate behaviors and increase correct behaviors. Just like accommodations and modifications, you are required by law to implement the strategies that are in the BIP. So if you have any questions about how to do that in your classroom, please let us know. If a student has a BIP, we are required to collect behavior data daily on that student. So the student's case manager will send you a daily behavior report card through email. This is just a short Google form that you'll fill out each day that lets us know how the student's behavior was in your class. We get questions a lot of the time about why we have to do this daily, but this is very important for several reasons. First of all, for progress monitoring, it's important that we have data that shows whether or not the interventions in the BIP are working and whether the student is making progress toward his or her behavior goal. It's also very important if a student is taken up for expulsion. If a student goes up for expulsion and they have a BIP, one of the things we have to review is the behavior report card data. If we don't have daily behavior report card data, then the student's expulsion could be overturned and that student could come right back to school. So please make sure that you are giving us this data through the daily behavior report card each day. Quick reminder about confidentiality. IEP documents and information are confidential, so please make sure that you put those in a safe location. Any conversations you have about students with IEPs should be limited to people who serve that student, and those conversations should take place in a private area. And just a quick thank you for everything that you do for our students. If you have any questions again about IEPs, about accommodations, modifications, or BIPs, please let me know or talk to your students' case managers. We are here to help, and we certainly appreciate everything you do for our students. Thank you.